The Vietnam-Russia mutual relation has been built strong through many historic eras. Nowadays, the two nations develop a well-rounded and strategic partnership, especially in the field of culture. The Vietnam-Russia culture collaboration has been activated through years before and played an important role in their mutual strategic and well-rounded relationship. In the past few years, the two nations have often exchanged people from various political positions to learn from each other in culture and communications. Both sides periodically and respectively establish cultural activities such as Vietnam Cultural Days, Vietnam Cinema Week in Russia and Russian Day, Russian Film Week in Vietnam, Hanoi Days in Moscow, Moscow Days in Hanoi. Not to mention other visual exhibitions, conferences, documentaries about each country and its people, publications that serve literature and cultural topics. The year 2019 and 2020 mark special milestones for Vietnam and Russia. We will celebrate 20 years signing of the Vietnam-Russia Treaty of Basic Friendship Relation Principles 1994-2019. 2020 marks 78th year establishing Vietnam-Russia diplomacy relation 1950-2020. In order to celebrate these, many activities regarding crossed years events should be established to strengthen the friendship of the two nations.
Hello everyone, welcome back to Sharing Vietnam on VTC 10 at the channel. 2019 is a special year for the relation of Vietnam and Russian Federation. And today we will have a talk with the Consul General of Russia in Ho Chi Minh City, Mr. Alexei Popov, to know more about the cultural exchange activities for this special year. Thank you so much for coming to our show.
Good afternoon, respected audience. I am happy to take part in this program.
Sir, why is 2019 considered a special year for the relation of Vietnam and Russia?
This year and the next one are unusual because the leaders of our countries agreed to hold the Year of Russia in Vietnam and the Year of Vietnam in Russia in 2019 to 2020 to commemorate important dates in the history of our bilateral relations. The official start of the cross-cultural year will take place late in May 2019 in Zaryad Park, downtown Moscow. The Prime Minister of Vietnam, Vngncb, will attend the opening ceremony. On the same day, the Vietnamese Cultural Days in Russia will kick off in Moscow and St. Petersburg.
So according to your sharings, this year is the cross-culture year. Can you tell us more about the activities that has been and will be held for this special occasion?
Хочу сказать, что мы подготовили очень обширный список мероприятий.
Both sides agreed on the extensive program that includes more than 100 joint events of different scale. Besides that, there will be many activities that are not on the list and organized by sides' own initiative. You mentioned the events in the cultural sphere. There will be a lot of them, but many will be held in political sphere, defense and security, economy, trade and investment, sport and tourism, education, science and technology. A large part of them is linked with the development of cooperation between regions and public organizations. A lot will be done for strengthening efforts to share information on the history and modern life of our nations, to cover all bilateral activities in the mass media.
О наших отношениях.
For Ho Chi Minh City respectively, what change of events will the Consulate of Russia will focus on?
Хочу сказать, что Ho Chi Minh, как и во многих других вопросах, у нас идет.
Late in February, the Minister of Foreign Affairs of the Russian Federation, S.V. Lavrov, paid a visit to the southern capital to attend Vietnam-Russia conference of the Val d'Ai Discussion Club in partnership with Diplomatic Academy of Vietnam, titled International Cooperation in a Troubled World. Besides, S.V. Lavrov discussed the issues of the cross-cultural year on the margins of the conference with the Secretary of Ho Chi Minh City's Party Committee, Nguyen Thien Nguyen, and Permanent Deputy Minister of Foreign Affairs of Vietnam, Bui Thanh Son. In March, the delegation of St. Petersburg, headed by the Vice Chairman of the Committee of External Relations of St. Petersburg, V.G. Kalganov, paid a working visit to Ho Chi Minh City. I want to say that a series of events will be held in St. Petersburg and in Ho Chi Minh City as well. We are looking forward to the days of St. Petersburg in Ho Chi Minh City. A massive Russian exhibition in the sphere of tourism is scheduled within the framework of the 15th International Tourist Exhibition.
Regarding the cross-year of Vietnam and Russia, Ho Chi Minh City have hosted a culture day called Cultural Crossroad, Vietnamese Artisans and Russian Hospitality at Russian General Consulate. The festival welcomes primary students from Russia and Vietnamese students from Russian Language Department, Ho Chi Minh City University of Pedagogy. The Russian students not only learn about tò he, one of the Vietnamese traditional toys, but also join in traditional painting activities with folklore characters.
Hai bên đã thảo luận và tổ chức sẽ có rất là nhiều hoạt động về văn hóa, về kinh tế, nhưng mà quan trọng nhất là bắt đầu tổ chức những cái hoạt động cho trẻ con. Đối với chúng tôi rất là quan trọng là thế hệ trẻ có thể nghiên cứu văn hóa của nước mình. Hôm nay chúng tôi có đại diện của trường Đại học Sư phạm của thành phố Hồ Chí Minh đã giới thiệu một số nghề rất là truyền thống của Việt Nam. Và về khai mạc trường phổ thông của Tổng lãnh sự quán Liên bang Nga, chúng tôi rất là mong muốn giới thiệu những cái phong tục của Liên bang Nga để các bạn Việt Nam cũng có thể xem.
In the other hand, the Vietnamese students are able to experience Russian Spring Festival in a traditional way. The participants enjoy spring games such as circle dancing and donkey beating. The event is a good chance for students from both countries to experience each other's spirits via cultural activities.
Thật ra thì tụi em là sinh viên tiếng Nga, tụi em cũng có cái môi trường được tiếp xúc với người Nga. Nhưng mà để mà trải nghiệm đầy đủ văn hóa Nga và cảm nhận nó một cách sâu sắc thì thường cơ hội nó rất là ít. Vì thế là hôm nay được đến đây thì tụi em cảm thấy giống như là lần đầu tiên vậy. Thực ra là mình đã được tiếp xúc nhiều, nhưng mà đây là lần đầu tiên mà mình cảm thấy ấn tượng và có cái trải nghiệm đáng nhớ. Cái chương trình trao đổi truyền thống văn hóa như thế này nó sẽ giúp kể cả hai nước và đặc biệt là sinh viên, học sinh của cả hai nước sẽ có nhiều cái nhìn sâu sắc hơn, có những cái cảm nhận rõ nét về truyền thống giữa hai nước nhiều hơn. Và từ đó thì em nghĩ là trong kể cả các em học sinh cũng như là các bạn sinh viên ngày hôm nay cũng sẽ có một chút gì đó nhìn lại những cái nét truyền thống, những cái nét đẹp trong văn hóa của mình. Among all the recent activities that have been held by the Consulate of Russia in Ho Chi Minh City, we can see a lot of combination between music, culture, and games come from both Vietnam and Russia. So can you tell me more about the purpose of this combination?
Да, действительно, по инициативе Генконсульства мы провели очень интересный...
Organized by the Consulate General of Russia, cultural and ethnographic festival, The Crossroads of Cultures, Vietnamese Handicrafts and Russian Hospitality, was aimed to widen the horizons of knowledge of participants about each other, to engage our young generation in studying their own culture, as well as cultural traditions of their Vietnamese friends. The participants were, firstly, pupils of school under the Consulate General of Russia, who live in Ho Chi Minh City and are eager to learn about the rich diversity of Vietnamese culture. Secondly, there were students from the faculty of the Russian language of Ho Chi Minh University of Education who study Russian culture and also want to know more about Russian traditions.
Еще глубже изучить эту проблематику.
So out of all these activities, which one has left the most impression on you, and in what ways?
Я хочу сказать, что очень многие мероприятия, которые здесь проходят, они мне очень интересны и приятно.
I have already mentioned about the concerts of classical music that we organized in Ho Chi Minh Conservatory. I was so pleased to see a deep interest from true experts of different generations. Another example, the presentation of new editions of books by Soviet and Russian writers, translated into Vietnamese, that we held with the Russian Center for Science and Culture in Hanoi and the publishing house Phu Nu Vietnam on the Book Street in Ho Chi Minh City. I know pretty well about the affection of Vietnamese people of reading. I myself enjoy reading. That is why I am really happy that during the last years we relaunched the process of translating Russian literature into Vietnamese and vice versa. I want to present you a book that was translated into Vietnamese. This is a classic of Russian literature, the story that is called Vngncb. In my opinion, although this book was written more than 100 years ago, it still correctly tells us about what is Russian soul. It is worthy to note that the author of this story is Konstantin Stanukovich, who was the first Russian who visited Saigon in the beginning of 1863, and I was amazed by his analytical notes on the situation in Indochina. I warmly remember the presentation of a Russian translation beloved by all Vietnamese people, The Tale of Q, organized by Vietnam-Russia Friendship Organization. Now the Russians can read it in their mother tongue.
So how will this year's cultural exchange activities affect the bilateral relation between the two nations?
Ну, это уже это действительно огромная тема. Хочу сказать самое главное.
The cooperation between Russia and Vietnam is steadily developing in all directions on the basis of mutual respect, equality, and inclusivity of interests of each other. Vietnam is our trusted partner, an old friend, which shares positions of our country in the international arena. The foreign policy concept of the Russian Federation 2016 underlines our desire to steadily deepen comprehensive strategic partnership with the Socialist Republic of Vietnam. I and my Vietnamese colleagues pin great hopes on the cross-cultural year. It is obvious for us that, despite all changes in modern world, people of our countries aspire to know about culture, art, and everyday life of each other as much as possible. I firmly believe that this attitude must be supported and stimulated. And this is what we are doing by joint efforts. We expect that Russians and Vietnamese will find pleasure in the cultural aspect of the cross-cultural year and real benefits from economic projects that will be implemented.
Надо эту традицию и эту практику продолжать.
Thank you so much for coming to our show, and thank you for all of your sharings.
Спасибо большое за внимание.
Thank you so much for your attention. I hope it was interesting for you to know about our work for making relationships stronger.
Всего вам доброго.
That's the end of our show for today. Thank you for watching. Goodbye and see you again.